work has cost healthcare workers their jobs this week, and a company's ready to cut back, too.
United Airlines is preparing to fire employees who refuse to receive a COVID-19 vaccination. The airline instated a vaccine mandate in August for all of its 67,000 workers. The deadline was September 27th, and the company says 593 employees did not receive the vaccine. They can still save their jobs if they get vaccinated before their termination meetings. Approximately 2,000 United employees have religious or medical exemptions and are scheduled to be on unpaid leave, though United has postponed that until October 15th because of a legal challenge. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
The St. Louis Cardinals have streaked their way into baseball's playoffs. Their 17th win last night, 6-2 over Milwaukee, secured the Cardinals one of the National League wild cards. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
WPTV First Alert Weather on W is brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Code Red Roofers cares and calls you back. Shows up and finishes on time. 287-2829. Code Red Roofers, the roofers who respond. Now here's the First Alert meteorologist.
This afternoon, a copy and paste forecast. Highs once again in the upper 80s. Less humidity will make it feel tolerable outside. Sunny skies and low rain chances. Tomorrow through Friday, highs in the upper 80s and mainly dry with a few passing showers. Saturday, a weak front brushes by, and that could bring us a few fast-moving showers. Highs in the upper 80s and a bit breezy. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Katya Hall for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Well, good morning, Stuart. I have a wonderful show on tap here today, a doubleheader. The first half hour, we're going to have Terry Barber in, and he's not in the studio, but he's calling in because he's coming back to Stuart. All of you from around here, we all know Terry Barber, and he has so many wonderful music productions that he does. But one of the latest that you may have seen or may not have is his Mercury Tour, where he goes with... Boy, this is really loud there, right? It's with the Mercury Tour with Freddie Mercury of Queen, and it is amazing. So we're going to have Terry on the line here just shortly, but before we do, I want to give a big shout-out to Indiantown Marina out there. They, again, I say it every week, we're still in hurricane season, and they are the premier place to store your boats. You can't take more precautions than just making a reservation. Make sure you have a spot to keep your boat safe, because once a hurricane is named, it's really tough to get a spot anywhere in the county. So with Indiantown Marina, you can go out there, know that, rest assured, you have a place to keep your boat and weather the hurricane. Also, Indiantown Marina, they have a do-it-yourself and full-service boat yard. They offer the best of both worlds when servicing your vessel: electrical, mechanical, prop and shaft work, bottom painting, complete boat painting, and boat sitting, and much more. So give them a call, 772-631-3272. That's 772-631-3272. So very good. We have Terry on the line now. And folks, you can join us by Facebook. We have Facebook Live going, and I'll be looking for your comments there. We are unable to take calls today over the phone, but I certainly will watch those comments on Facebook Live on the Casey Ingram Show. So, Terry, are you with us?
I am, yes. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. And again, we have Terry Barber, and we've got the Mercury show that's coming to Stuart, right?
That's right, yeah. I've actually got 4 shows for this tour in the next month in Florida. And it's the music of Freddie Mercury, which is obviously largely Queen, the band Queen, but also some things that just are particular to him. And the band really helps the audience get to know Freddie through the show. I wrote it in such a way that each of the band members delivers actual quotes, the words of Freddie, as we kind of set up the songs and help people understand what was going on and how to, kind of connect with the art. So it's super fun. We've got the lead guitarist from the Oak Ridge Boys, Don Carr, Grace Field, who won a Tony. My dog's even excited. You can hear him in the background.
I
did. This show, for the first time, because of a generous support sponsorship from Valley Bank and U.S. Mortgage of Florida, I'm actually coming to Florida early to coach public school choirs in Boca Raton, where we have 2 shows October 9th at the Boca Black Box, if any of your listeners have friends down there. And then in Stewart at the Lyric Theater, where the show kind of found its first legs. And I actually was on stage on Tamiflu a couple of years ago trying to get the show off the ground, and a bunch of my friends and local friends, everybody that I know from the area were there and came. And then in Stewart on Sunday, October 10th at 7:30, we have members of Opus and Jubilate. So I want to thank Jimmy Paul and Emily Vitale, who are the conductors of those groups, and they're going to be joining the show for 3 songs. And then we also have dancers from Anna Preston's Contemporary Dance Theater that are going to be dancing to Radio Gaga and I'm Going Slightly Mad. So it's so great to be in one of my what I consider hometown theaters, because of course I lived in the area, and my mom lived in the area, and my aunt, my grandmother, but also to reconnect with some of these great arts organizations and artists who are jumping up on stage to get involved too. So it's going to be a unique version of the show in Stewart. So.
Well, Terry Barber, you are a hometown guy here, and we all just support you, and you're always sold out here, folks. So you need to get your tickets now, because I just know the show will sell out. It always does. And I'm really excited. I've seen the Mercury show before, but it sounds like you've added some different things to it, and with the dancers and whatnot, and it sounds like it's going to be changed up a little bit and every bit as entertaining as before, and then some. I'm super excited. I just can't wait to get into town here on October 10th.
I have to say, no matter what you do to rehearse a new show, I'm kind of curious to go to like a Broadway launch and see like the first show or one of the first 5 shows, and then go back and see it a few months later. Because what I notice with my own tours, this is like the 8th tour that I've produced myself that are mostly based in the U.S. and Canada. And what I've noticed for myself is that in the first few shows, which was the time that you saw it when it came to the Lyric the first time, you kind of have an idea of what you want, and no matter what you do to rehearse it, it kind of just, it needs some growth and development. And so the show has been to the International Film Festival in Sedona. We've been to the Gallo in Modesto, California. We've been to Chicago area. We've been like all over now, and really it's settled into a different place. And that's what I want to say is just I'm really artistically happy with it now, and I'm really excited to share it again at home, because the first time, like I said, I was literally on stage on Tamiflu, and we were trying things out, and my original concepts with launching new tours is, I'll do it close to home where I have so many friends and so much support. But I think that might be backwards. I think maybe we should do things, somewhere, where no one sees it a few times, and then bring it to your home and your family, because, those are the people that you want to show off for or be ready for. You know what I mean? So right. I really am excited now. I mean, the show is just in a different place than it was, and if people like the music of Queen. Which, I mean, who doesn't? It's all hits. It's Somebody to Love, right. And We Are the Champions, and Bohemian Rhapsody, and You're My Best Friend. There are so many hits. It's one after the other. Hits.
And Terry,
so I'm just excited.
Terry, Queen is so multi-generational. My daughter, who's 12, her and her friends are singing Queen now. They love it. So you are hitting multi-generations. I mean, it's everybody loves Queen. Everybody knows Queen. So I have to say that folks that know you and know your work, you are multifaceted as well, and you have so many different ranges and vocal abilities, and it's not just one genre of song that you sing. So it's absolutely fun. Amazing to go and listen to you no matter what you're doing with the show. But, Queen in particular is everybody's favorite. Everybody knows Queen and loves them. So
what really strikes me about the band is, obviously you've got this band who's probably one of the smartest rock bands in history, an astrophysicist, an orthodontist. Everyone had degrees, and even Freddie, his degree was actually in design. And he picked the name for the band and designed the logo, which incorporated some of their astrological signs. They all wrote hits, and so they got to a certain place in their careers where instead of arguing over, well, you wrote, Another One Bites the Dust, but I wrote We Will Rock You, and you wrote whatever, and kind of arguing over money, they just decided, let's just all split everything equally. And then all the arguing, of course, stopped. Which was great. I mean, Freddie did write We Are the Champions and Bohemian Rhapsody and Somebody to Love, which are arguably like three of the biggest hits. But he didn't write, literally everyone in the band wrote hits. And what I love about the sound of the band is when you listen to like You're My Best Friend, which sounds almost like the Beatles or something, and then you listen to Another One Bites the Dust, which my kids think sounds like Michael Jackson. So there's so much art there. And then the only cover we do in the show is actually The Great Pretender, because Freddie didn't do a lot of covers, but he did cover that tune by the Platters, which of course speaks to the older audience. And it's a great tune, but it also was pretty personal, I think, for Freddie, and that's why he covered it. It really talks about, being that kind of front man who can smile and be happy, even though maybe that's not who you are in the moment on the inside. And so, he struggled a lot with people acting against him because of his race, and he had a lot of personal kind of overcome. I don't know if people have seen the film Bohemian Rhapsody,
right?
But you get to know him a little bit in there, and certainly his love and connection with Mary Stewart.
Very special.
So, yeah, Mary and he were really close friends, and also perhaps more than that, obviously. And like his connection to her was pretty amazing, and like he gave her the lion's share of his estate, and also asked her to disperse his ashes after he passed. So that's not that's not something you would take lightly, I would guess.
No, of course not. Terry, I'm so excited. I've got a couple clips of music, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about the show. But let me share with the listeners one of the songs that you'll be singing. We got Somebody to Love.
Somebody
Wow. So that is Terry Barber. Terry, how do you hit those notes?
Well, that's a big vocal technique question. I mean, I started out as a boy soprano, and when my voice changed, I kind of kept a lot of my high notes. My high range is pretty similar to where it was when I was really young, and just kind of got more low notes. Now, the work of a classically trained singer with bel canto technique is really to try to bridge that gap between the voices, and so that you can go from the low voice to the high voice without there being like a huge gear shifting sound. And so, if you listen to that whole track, which full disclosure is from my reimagined Mercury album. It's not the version that we do in the show, because in my album I'm trying to kind of recreate them in a way that honors Freddie and also connects it to the way I deliver the art. But in the band version of the show, we're doing them a little more traditionally, more similar to the originals. But in this tune, if you listen to the whole thing, at the beginning you can hear kind of what people call falsetto, which is like more of the head voice, the upper voice. And then as I go through, it's hitting the same notes. Toward the end, I'm using more of my chest voice in that same range. And so it's kind of, how much of what voice I want to use. Certainly needs a lot of power as you get to the bigger moments, and that's when I'm using more of my lower voice in those higher notes. But yeah, that song Freddie wrote inspired by Aretha Franklin, which is why I kind of slowed it down and had a little more of that kind of a groove to it in my version. And then he, really was trying to, the song is about questioning God's role in a life without love. His love life was pretty messed up. He felt really taken advantage of by people and didn't really find too many great connections or, in the traditional sense of finding a partner and somebody who honors you and respects you. I just don't think he was super happy most of the time with his love life.
Right. Which is where Mary Stewart, I think you said, where she kind of came in. She was in my opinion, after watching your other show, she was kind of a constant in his life for him, grounded him.
For sure, yeah. And some people say that maybe she replaced his mother in some regard, because when he was just 8 or 9 years old, his parents sent him thousands of miles away to boarding school in India, I said I don't know why I said Mary Stewart, but it's Mary Austin. I'm sure people are listening saying that that's not right. I don't know why I said that name. I probably have a friend.
Well, we're in Stewart, Florida. We're in Stewart,
it's Mary
Florida.
Austin for everyone who's listening. But he went thousands of miles away to boarding school, to an all-boys boarding school in India, and his family were of moderate means, and so that they felt that was the best thing that they could do for him, because the schools were stronger there. But it was an all-boys boarding school, and the classmates there nicknamed him Freddie. His real name was Faraq Balsara, from Zanzibar originally, which is not now Zanzibar anymore. But
Fun.
Yeah. So, but he only got to see his family like once a year.
Wow.
At age 8.
Oh, that's terrible.
Which is pretty intense.
It is.
And so Mary herself said, I was put on this earth to nurture men. So I think she had that kind of
mothering,
compassionate, wonderful, supportive personality, and they just connected beyond what a normal friendship would be, is what I would say,
Well, folks, you'll learn about this and so much more at these concerts. And it's not just music, as Terry mentioned. They tell the story of Terry Barber, and everybody in the group all take a part. And it really fascinates you. This show flies by, Terry. It goes too quickly, in my opinion, but that shows how entertaining it is, because all of a sudden the show is ended. But you're sitting there, you're just immersed in Queen, Freddie Mercury, and you learn so much more than you ever knew before, because it's more than just listening to the music. And again, Terry's going to be here in Stewart on October 10. He's going to be down in Boca October 9th. For you folks here in Stewart, call the Lyric up, get your tickets right away. And how much are the tickets, Terry?
So I tried to work with the Lyric to make sure that there are a few different price ranges. So I know they start in the $20 something range and go, I think, into the 40 something range. And so I know that a lot of the really good tickets in the orchestra section and, the ground floor are gone, but there are still a few here and there. And then in the upper balcony is where the inexpensive seats are, and that's where there are still some. So, yes, like you said, jump on it. And it's really a party, this show. Our last show in Michigan, in northern Michigan, we had people, in the aisles dancing and up near the stage. I'm going to have to talk to Kai about that and whether they allow that, the fire safety and everything.
Right.
But, it's certainly fun for us to get people up out of their chairs. And this is not the kind of sit there and listen, hum along a little bit and try not to bother the person next to you show. This is the everybody's here for a party show. So it's definitely, a really fun time.
I can't wait. And, I love dancing, so I hope the lyric lets people stand up and dance a little bit. So this is going to be so much fun.
I'll make sure to find out before the show starts and let the audience know.
Okay, yes, absolutely, because we will be, and we just can't wait to have you back here in Stuart. So this is very, very exciting that we're going to be able to see you again and see Mercury. And what are you looking forward to most? I mean, COVID's been so tough, Terry, and to see you back out and touring, it's got to be a good feeling for you, and we're excited about it as well because it was a huge withdrawal of not being able to go to concerts and see entertainment for so long.
It has been really difficult, and I wrote a couple, some songs during the time off. I'm developing some new projects. My friend Jonathan, who is the drummer in my band and one of my best friends, is an incredible singer. He sang backup for Barry Manilow back in the day. I mean, he's been doing it and living the dream that other people, wish they could have for a long time. And he's one of my best friends. He and I are developing a new project where we're going to cover the Simon & Garfunkel's Greatest Hits album in order. And so that'll be out on the road in the next season. And then I have another group called Elemen Trio, which is 3 men singers. That's kind of a crossover classical group, much in the same vein as Il Divo, but a little bit cooler. We're doing like a Sia tune, and we just are working on our demo for that right now. And that's going to have its launch in Vienna and London in the summer. So, yes, lots to be excited about. Glad to be back doing it, and especially at the Lyric, where I know it's going to be just filled with people that I love.
Yep, and we all love you. You know that. So, Terry, we're going to close the show out here, but it's going to be one of my favorite songs that you worked on during COVID. And if you can tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll close the show out with it. But Mr. Spaceman. I love it.
So this is kind of an irreverent love song, a little bit maybe angry or bitter, if you will. And unfortunately, I wrote it not thinking too much about anything personally. And then as I was looking back at it after I wrote it, some of the things kind of came true. And it's kind of sad, but it's a little bit, it shows off my countertenor range a lot. And it's a little bit kind of just weird, artistic.
It's fun and weird.
I love weird, too.
It is. I know it. I jam out to this
song. Freddie's favorite song was Killer Queen that he wrote, and that totally speaks to me. He loved that song. It was weird, and he was weird, so we and I had that in common, too.
You have a lot in common with Freddie Mercury. It's really cool. And folks, again, Terry will go into more of Freddie Mercury's life and background and their commonalities at his show, which is going to be here in Lyric at the Lyric Theater in Stuart, October 10th at 7:30, and Boca the day before, October 9th. So if you're down in Boca, and what facility was that at Boca, Terry?
BocaBlackBox.com is the website.
There you go.
They have some pretty cool stuff there. They have the Fifth Dimension this week, I think.
Ooh.
And, they've got a lot of comedy and stuff in there.
Yes.
It's a pretty neat little intimate venue.
Those are the best. Those are the best to really enjoy the entertainment and then see the artists. So, Terry Barber, we got to listen to Mr. Spaceman. I just love the song again. I jam out to this all the time. Love all your music, but this one is just so cool. So, we look forward to seeing you. I'll see you on October 10th here in Stuart. And Terry Barber, the Mercury Tour. Love it. Can't wait to have you here.
Can't wait to see you. Thanks for having me on.
You got it, Terry. See you soon.